Hi, I'm Lori Whalen, Assistant Director at the Environmental Nature Center, where we provide quality education through hands-on experience with nature. I am an enormous native plant fan, and I want to tell you a little bit about why I think native plants are so great. But first, we need to talk a little bit about why non-native invasive plants are harmful to the environment. Plants are being moved around the globe like never before. Some become invasive in their new environments, harming the ecosystem and the economy. The California Invasive Plant Council estimates that $82 million is spent annually in California to control invasive species. Invasive plants can increase wildfire potential. When you see a hillside full of those dry, golden grasses, it can be beautiful, but they're most likely not native and they present a dire wildfire danger. Invasive plants can also reduce water resources. In a watershed where there's tamarisk and arundo invading, they suck up all the water and don't leave any for the native plants that are supposed to be growing there. Invasive plants can also accelerate erosion and flooding. If you see a hillside of ice plant, it can get very heavy once it starts to rain, and it actually can pull the whole slope down with it. Invasive plants threaten wildlife and diminish our enjoyment of outdoor recreation. In the springtime, it's lovely to walk along a trail with mustard on both sides of you, but when that mustard goes dormant, it's not only a bigger fire danger, but it's not very attractive either. A diverse native ecosystem is much more beautiful, providing food and shelter for our native animals. Invasive plants can also degrade range and cropland. Our farmers and ranchers spend literally millions of dollars a year to alleviate the problem caused by invasive species. We can protect California's biologically rich landscapes by making sure we do not plant invasives like fountain grass, pampas grass, ice plant, Mexican feathergrass, and others. Check the California Invasive Plant Council's website at cal-ipc.org if you're planting non-native plants to make sure they're not invasive. So better yet, when you're ready to replace plants in your landscape, consider planting locally native plants. There are so many reasons why native plants are awesome, including, of course, the fact that they save water, an important natural resource that is limited around here. Now, if I planted a plant like this buckwheat in my yard, which I have, I might have to water it a little while to get it established, but once it's in the ground, I literally never have to water it again. That's not true of all native plants, but some of them are extremely drought tolerant, like this one. Another great reason for planting natives is because you don't need to use pesticides and herbicides. Native plants are adapted to the insects and pests in their area. Like this redwood tree, for instance, it has chemicals in its bark that keep insects from wanting to eat it, so they could live thousands of years, although I wouldn't suggest planting redwood trees here in Orange County. It's really great not to have pesticides and herbicides in your garden, because putting those things in your garden not only are not good for your own health, but aren't good for the native creatures, the plants and animals, the bugs, the butterflies, that would be using those plants as well. You might be trying to kill an invasive pest, but you accidentally might kill something beneficial as well. Another reason why I like to plant native plants in my yard is because they require way less maintenance than traditional landscape plants. There's no need to go mow your lawn every weekend, but when you do have to maintain them, it's actually really enjoyable. A plant like this just needs to be deadheaded once a year after its flowers have gone to seed. In a place like this nature center, that's not even necessary to do. We would just leave it. But if it was in your landscape, it looks nice just to take it down where the leaves are growing and not see these guys. However, I like to leave them for a little while so the birds can eat the seeds. In California, there are over 5,000 native plant species, more than in the central and northeastern US and Canada combined. More than 1,500 of these plant species are endemic to California. That means they're only found here, and most of these endemic species are found in Southern California. Southern California is one of the 25 global biodiversity hotspots. Hotspots are where the largest number of different species can be found, especially those species found nowhere else. More than 60% of the Earth's total species live in hotspots, which cover only 1.44% of its surface. Orange County is in a hotspot with more native plant species per square mile than Yosemite National Park. Orange County has 806 species of native vascular plants, many of which are landscape quality. As the human population grows, many of Orange County's open spaces are vanishing, and with it the native plants. By growing native plants in our gardens, we are restoring some of the natural biodiversity in our area. Many animal species are dependent on the habitat provided by native vegetation, so home plantings can help local wildlife populations. If you plant them, they will come. Planting native plants in your garden will not just give you the opportunity to observe the plant growing and flowering and fruiting, it will also give you the opportunity to observe and discover all of the lovely animals that come to make your yard their home. In my yard, I see a diversity of insects, butterflies, hummingbirds, birds, things I never saw before I planted native plants in my landscape. So where can you find native plants? I love to buy plants from Tree of Life Nursery in San Juan Capistrano. We also have quarterly plant sales here at the Environmental Nature Center. Just check our calendar at encenter.org to see when the next one is. I love answering questions about native plants, so feel free to email me anytime at lori@encenter.org and correspond with me about native plant questions. And I hope to see you at the next plant sale.